At InDigital, we know the public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI Net goes beyond industry standards, not only i3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned. Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 513 of Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital, a leader next-gen core services, and a big shout-out, as always, to patrons of the podcast, as well as Facebook subscribers. And this, I'm jumping in really quick, as I have been these past few episodes, because they've been back-to-back Imagine Listening and Open Mic episodes, which are, I can't even talk, which is awesome all the time, because these are multiple stories and they're concentrated to, specific calls, whether it be Imagine Listening or Open Mic. And again, this is Open Mic. So we last week heard very powerful Imagine Listening session that it was out at the Mayan Ranch. And of course, it is always followed up by Open Mic. So now you get to hear the lighter side of dispatch, the funny stuff that happens, and some of it outrageous and what. So that is what we are getting ready to listen to here, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So without further ado, here is episode 513. Again, this is an Open Mic episode, and this was recorded with the attendees of the 911 leadership training out at the Mayan Ranch in Bandera, Texas, run by the 360-degree dispatcher, Joe Serio, and his team. Enjoy.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Ladies and gentlemen who are here, thank you so much for joining us for Within the Trenches, True Stories from the 911 Dispatchers Who Live Them. We just went through an emotionally but powerful Imagine Listening session, but now is Open Mic, and this is where we're going to share all the funny shit that happens in 911, and I've got a live audience with me, so let's hear it. Where's this live audience? All right, I'm going to start it out really quick with a quick, short story. There was one night that I was working in dispatch. I had a lady who would call in all the time, and it always seemed like I was the one who was getting this call from her. She just wanted to talk to somebody, just wanted to talk. So this one time, she falls asleep on the phone with me. And at that moment, I thought, I am never, ever going to get a chance to do this in real life, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So I asked this person who is asleep on the phone, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? And everybody in the room, my partners with me, they stand up. They're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, no, let me go with this. Let me go with this. And I said it again, and she wakes up, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I fell asleep. I was like, no, you're all right, Annie. I'm glad you're okay. And then we get off the phone and my partners are like, dude. I was like, no. When am I ever else going to get a chance to do something like that in real life? You got to take that chance. And I did. And damn it, I wish I had that recording, but it was one of the most fun times and moments in dispatch. Who has a story they want to share? All right, here we go.
So this was my very first 911 call on my very first day of training, and it sticks with me because of how hilarious it was. A guy called 911 and he wanted to be transferred to EMS because he had a medical issue. So in our agency, we transfer, but we stay on the line to see if police are needed too. And so EMS goes through their deal, getting his address, phone number, all that. And then they ask him, okay, sir, what seems to be the problem? And he just screams out, my balls are the size of grapefruits. And it took everything I had not to laugh because that was the very first call I took. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know about this job after all.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have the same exact story. I'm not even really it was grapefruit. I didn't know that was
So recently I was working overtime as a supervisor on day shift, and I came in to cover one of the day shift supervisors that was going on vacation. Well, I was sitting on the platform and monitoring our calls, and I see that we had a whole bunch of calls holding on our non-emergency line. So I logged on to help them clear those calls out. And it's, of course, non-emergency, right? I completely forgot that people call about anything and everything. So this guy he's saying, hey, yeah, I'm calling because my neighbor called the cops a few days ago to my parents' house because of our dogs. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, I want to know the outcome of it. And I'm telling him, well, I can't disclose that information to you, sir. You know, you're not the one that originally called. He's like, well, I want to know what she called about and what she said because she got help for her dogs. And I was like, what do you mean she got help for her dogs? And then she's like, well, I understand that my dog is a little aggressive, but that's because he just had puppies. So he's just protecting his dogs. And I was like, oh, he had puppies. Like, okay. And I'm just listening, right? And he's like, yeah. And then I understand that he's aggressive because he just wants to protect his puppies. But I want to know what she said because I think my dog needs help too. And I was like, what kind of help are you talking about? And he's like, well, he has a big old scar and he can't really walk. And I was like, okay, then he needs to be taken to the vet. Take him to the vet. And he was just like, no, but I want to know what she told the cops because she got help for her dogs. And I was just like, okay, so I'm just going to send somebody out to you. But I was like, that just reminded me after being off the phones for so long that people literally do call about anything and everything. Yeah.
So this was kind of a story that was taken in our center, but it was more of how I dispatched it. We had a lady call in and she was spraying bug spray and some of it got in her mouth. So she thought she was going to be real sick and all that. And I don't remember why we sent an officer, but we had to send an officer. And instead of saying she got bug spray in her mouth, I said the name brand of the bug spray and I said, EMS is responding because she got off in her mouth. Not even realizing what I said. There was a couple of mic clicks and they're like, I'm sorry, what? And then like, oh my God, no, bug spray. It's bug spray. That's all it was. And I still to this day, and this was in the first year or two that I had started. I've been there 13 years. Still haven't lived it down.
That is awesome.
So I get a 911 call from a cell phone, and it's years ago, so the technology isn't what it is now. And I get this call, and I hear what's agonal breathing, and of course, like, your heart drops. And I'm like, how am I going to find this person? So I'm trying to like, hello, can you hear me? What's your address? There's nothing. And I just hear like agonal breathing. I was like, oh shit. And so the phone disconnected and I was like, here we go. So I call back. There was no answer. Call back again. Someone answered and then they hung up. And then you're like, this is not good. So I call back and a female answered and I said, ma'am, are you okay? And she says, yes. And I said, if you had an emergency, would you be able to tell me? And she goes, yes. I said, I heard what sounded like agonal breathing. Are you sure everything's okay? And she's like, I was just having sex.
So we had this blind guy who called in all the time. And first thing out of his mouth is, I'm blind, bitch, I'm motherfucking blind. I'm like, all right, cool. What's going on? He goes, I smell smoke. I'm like, well, do you see flames? I'm like,
Words matter.
Too, it's not the phone call, it was the dispatch itself. Guy had knocked over his grill and it had started to fire. It was going to the backside of the house, and I hear them talking about how the guy's a dick. The call taker's a dick. So I proceeded to air RP's advising his dick's on fire.
We had a call at a therapy facility that does horse therapy as well. And we were responding out there because we needed to place the patient on an M1. She was suicidal, was being aggressive and all that. So because she was being aggressive, fire was standing by waiting for sheriffs to respond. And so since they're standing by on scene, and they see her go and steal a horse that's not broken in, mind you. And they're honestly concerned that she's going to get hurt. So they were like, hey, let law know she's stealing a horse. She's wearing a gray sweater and she's wearing camouflage pants. She has blonde hair. County calls and goes, is that the horse's description? And we were like, what? And lost it for the rest of the night. And then so then the county dispatcher was like, can you get a description of the horse? And so we ask, I don't know why. We ask fire on scene and we're like, can we get a description of the horse? He goes, it's brown.
I tend to get all the old people that call. And I'll never forget the night the old man called me, kept screaming, I'm having vagina. I'm having vagina. And I'm going, what? What? You're having what? I'm having vagina. And I'm like, what do I do? Send him an ambulance or congratulate him? I don't know. And I was like, sir, what? He finally says, my chest hurts. Oh, angina.
Yes. Awesome. Do I have time to close it out with the story that I usually close it out with? All right. One night, I'm in dispatch. And the way we had our shifts, it was 3 12s and a 4. And the 4-hour shift was always on a Wednesday. I was going in for the 1A to 5A shift. So I stopped at the gas station because I'm going to pick up some food and something to drink quick. And it's middle of the night, right? So I got to stay awake. So I pick up a 12-ounce can of Red Bull and I'm looking around for something to eat. And I get myself a gas station burrito. That's the part I always love, is everyone saying, oh, no. Okay. Yes, it was, and the burrito was called the Bomb. Okay? Yeah, the Bomb. Yes. So I get to dispatch. I get there early enough that I'm able to heat up the burrito. And I thought it was going to be on backup phones, but nope, my ass is on main phones. I'm like, all right, it'll be fine. It's only 4 hours. I sit down. I destroy that burrito. It was hella good. And I chugged that Red Bull. And I'm sitting there. Nothing's really going on. And phone rings. And it's for a BOL, BOLO, depends on the region you're in. Be on the lookout is what it is. There is the county south of ours. They've got someone that they're chasing and it's getting ready to come up. So I'm typing information. And then I get this weird twitch and I'm like, hell no, this is not happening right now. I start getting this bubble gut and I'm sitting there and I've got goosebumps right now talking about it. So I'm sitting on the other side, though, by myself. The other two are on the other side, okay? If anybody was over there with me, because I was sweating badly already, they probably would have smelled like beef coming from my sweat or something. Like, that's how bad it was. It was horrible. And I'm talking to them and I'm like, oh, okay. And I sent a message to my coworkers saying, if I have to get up and run, take over the call. And it happened. Because I don't know about your dispatch center, but we had a bathroom inside the center, and I wasn't about to drop heat there. No, not with my people there, no. And then you can run down the hall. We had a bathroom down the hall, locker rooms and everything. So I put them on hold. I'm like, I got to go use the bathroom. And I start hauling ass running fast enough that there's like smoke coming, hopefully smoke, not anything else. Hopefully smoke, right? And I go and I do my thing and I come back. I'm like, all right, I can take the phone. So I'm talking with them and again, it starts happening again. Now, you know, movie sequels, they're the worst, right? Well, in the shit world, it's the same. And my stomach was hurting. And in my head, I'm like, come on, stay together. You're all right. We can do this. And if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever tried to hold in your gas, but it like goes up your back and it turns into like a back fart. It was bad. The pressure is bad. And I get up, I put him on hold again and I stand up and my buddy goes, you got to poop, dude? I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can't believe you said that. I was like, this is not a warrant. You don't have to confirm it, but yes. Yes, I do. So I took off again, did my thing, and I come back and nobody's on the phone anymore. And I'm like, oh, it's all over. Good. And I sit down, I'm chilling, phone rings. Same people. So this car kept going in circles. It was going in and then back out. And I'm thinking in my head, put the stop sticks down. I'm going through my own shit right now. Literally going through my own shit. Stop them. Maybe it'll stop me too. So I'm going through this call. And again, this trilogy of poo now. I have to go again. And I put them on hold and I stand up. I'm like, I can't make it down the hall. I'm going to go right here. And they're like, wait, what? I was like, not right here. I'm not going to go right here. I'm going to use this bathroom. So I go into the bathroom that's right there in dispatch. I turn on the water. I turn on the fan. Anything to mask the hell I'm about to go into. Because if you've ever watched Dumb and Dumber, you know exactly what I was about to go into. I'm in there screaming for my life. And I come out and my coworkers are laughing at me and everything. And I'm the supervisor on duty. And I'm thinking, or I told them, I'm going to turn the heat up so that you can smell that shit. Like, stop making fun of me. So years later, I'm on a family trip going to Washington State. We stop in Montana. We're at a gas station and I'm just walking through, minding my own business when I get this weird twitch. I was like, wow, that was odd. And I turn around to see a cooler of bomb burritos next to a little display of Red Bull. And all I could think was, screw you, Montana. That's my story. Thank you all. Welcome back. There you have it. That is episode 513 of Within the Trenches. That was an open mic episode. Again, that was recorded out at the Mayan Ranch in Bandera, Texas for the 911 leadership training that's put on by the 360-degree dispatcher. That's Joe Serio and his team. And I've become kind of a regular there for the past few years now, closing it out with Imagine Listening and open mic sessions, and it is always fun to be there and to get to know everyone. So thank you for having me back, and I hope to be back again. And for everyone who shared stories, thank you so very much. And I can't get enough of that session. That session is just an excellent time. Even the emotional part, of course, the emotional part especially, because those are some powerful stories. But, we always follow it up with open mic and we share those funny ones because laughing is good medicine. So again, thank you all for sharing stories, and holy moly, some of those just had me rolling. Thank you again. So if you have any comments, questions, or you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can support the podcast and everything that I do by becoming a supporter, whether it be on Patreon or Facebook. And an easy way to find all of this information and to do all of this is to simply go to links.co/WTT podcast. Once again, that is links with 2 I's.co/WTT podcast. You'll find everything there. whether it be email, social media, the latest episode that has come out, Imagine Listening, the book, where you can purchase it, also podcast swag, just all of it. And also the links for Patreon and Facebook to be able to support us. So simply go there. It's a lot easier to do that. And it is, again, links with 2eyes.co/WTT podcast. And I appreciate it more than you know. This can be seen on YouTube. There's a bunch of them. YouTube, X, Twitter, whatever. Facebook and LinkedIn Live. And then to listen to the audio, to listen to the flagship show, you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you in the next one.